Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our National Predators Throwback 2000 franchise mode here in NHL 24. This is the first of 3 pre-recorded episodes. Anyways, if you guys didn't catch last episode, we had the draft and re-sign stage. Re-sign stage-wise, we brought pretty much everybody back. We did let go of Andy Delmore, however, we are going to be pursuing him in free agency to try and bring him back just because our defensive core still needs a solid right-handed defenseman. We also had a pretty good draft, I would say. For the most part, we added a couple more low lead forwards for our prospect pool. I actually do need to give Lacosta his ELC. I forgot to do that in the last episode, so let's go ahead and do that. He'll be in the AHL this season. Also, Artmeyer actually could probably get his ELC too, because he's already 20 years old, so let's go ahead and do that for him. But yeah, we had a pretty good draft. We drafted, obviously, like I just said, Lacosta. We drafted Kondrayev, so we are still building up a pretty good prospect pool. Apostolopoulos as well. So we do have some good guys eventually coming to the NHL. And obviously, our AHL team's getting quite the amount of reinforcements for the upcoming season. Like Shea Weber is going to be making the AHL. Schock should probably be AHL eligible, I think. Maybe not. Not too sure. But also Brent Seabrook making the AHL is nice. Ryan Suter, obviously Mark Giordano is still down there. So we are building up quite the defensive core of the future. So yeah, there is that. And I'm excited for the start of the season, of course, because obviously I think this is going to be a big year for guys like Marita, because Marita's been hitting 35 to 39 goals. I think he could hit 40 plus this season, depending obviously on how his teammates like Hartnell, Spezza, those type of guys do. But I am excited just to see how this team develops this year and if we are going to be able to make it back to the playoffs again, because I'm honestly not too sure. I'm excited to see what Korzeny can do in his first season. Maybe that's the kind of offense we need from our back end on a power play unit. Like maybe he could help drive the second power play unit while Rob Blake is still on the team. Because we decided to bring back Rob Blake on a one-year deal just because obviously he could be good trade bait for if we do not make the playoffs or not. And obviously he was actually pretty damn good with us. So yeah, very excited, obviously, for the start of the season. Obviously, Marcus Sedin also looking to build off a very, very nice rookie season in terms of regular season stats. So I'm hoping that, obviously, in the regular season this year, he could do that again. However, I do obviously hope if we do make it to the playoffs that he could put up much better numbers than he did last season. So anyways, there is that. And I think we're ready to continue to simulate because we did offer some free agent contracts out, which I'll show you guys again just in case you forgot. Normally I don't offer contracts in a certain episode, but when I have to pre-record episodes, obviously I did. So in terms of guys that they approached, as you can see, I offered a contract back to Andy Delmore on a one-year deal. Also wanted to get after Nat Domicelli and Tyler Arneson as depth options / maybe even fourth line guys. And then Mike Motto as a depth defenseman as well. So just a couple players to approach just to see if they could help fill out a roster. And we also went after goaltender John Graham as a backup option, just so that way we could probably have Dan Ellis back in the AHL, and maybe the AHL team could go on a Calder Cup run. So that's what I'm hoping for, at least with us this upcoming year. So I think we're pretty much ready to go. Let's advance a few days and see if the guys we approached will sign with us. And then obviously we'll simulate to the end of the month and see where players are signing. Get our team set up for the 2005-06 season because we're coming out of the lockout, which is pretty exciting. So let's see if those guys will accept. They more than likely will, I would assume, but never know. There could be other teams interested in them. We're not trying to trade away PJ Axelson, but thank you. And there's Nat Domicelli, so we get ourselves a nice little depth forward. Tyler Arneson is also accepted as a depth forward. Andy Delmore is welcome back, so he's really happy to be back with the team. Seems like a couple guys on the team are actually happy about that too. Mike Motto is in, and John Graham is in as well. So we get our 5 free agents that we went after, which is nice to see. Will be interesting to see where the top guys go in free agency. I believe there wasn't any huge names out there, but will be interesting to see where they sign regardless. So I think we pretty much should have our roster set in stone now. But obviously I'm not too sure who's going to be in the lineup and who's not going to be. Because we did let go of also like Dennis Archipov, for instance, because he's just not panning out really. But I think Svatos could be NHL bound this season as well. And then our defense core looks a little bit stronger now. Well, actually not stronger, I should say. But Korzeny being there obviously is nice. Mike Motto's probably going to be depth. Brooks Orpik is probably going to be that actual roster spot. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. I think it's going to be an interesting season. I don't know if we're going to make it back to the postseason this year. But obviously it rides on if Marita and those younger guys could take that next step or not. So If we don't, so be it, because we do have a good AHL team, and obviously I want to get good development from guys like Shea Weber and all that. So that is the first priority, is obviously getting those guys good growth and all that. So let's remove all this stuff from my block, just because I don't need any trade offers. It's just quite annoying when you get a ton of trade offers in the offseason, and you can barely simulate a few days without getting an offer. So I'm just going to completely remove everything, so that way we do not get any offers whatsoever. And then we should be able to easily get to the end of the month and see where players are signing. It was kind of interesting because there was a lot of trades at the draft in the last episode as well. Like Eric Dezay got dealt, but he didn't actually sign with the team he got dealt to, which was Toronto, so that's kind of hilarious. Yeah, a lot of draft movement this year, which was kind of something I didn't really see too much of. I don't think I've ever seen a draft like that before. So, anyways, July 31st. And this would be 2006, around 2005, not 2006 yet, 2005. Wow, damn, July 2005, huh? I remember when, during the 04-05 lockout, when, like, Marian Hossa got dealt, you had also, like, that shortly, that bit when Joe Thornton got dealt. I don't remember if that was 05, though, or 06. Can't remember for instance, but I remember this time period a little bit. So let's see what happened in terms of this offseason. Any interesting signings or trades? I will keep my face on the screen, I think, for now. Yeah, it should be fine. So in terms of trades, let's take a look at these ones first. So the first trade, Steve Konowalchuk and Ivan Majewski were dealt from dealt from Washington to Anaheim. So Anaheim loading up a little bit. Also, the LA Kings acquired a two fourth rounders in Pascal Rayom from Calgary. Nothing huge there. Doug Waite and Joseph Mara got dealt to Boston. I believe Mara was in the free agent pool, so I guess Edmonton was just like, oh yeah, we're going to sign him, and then immediately flip him. But Doug Waite on his way to Boston is interesting. So Boston kind of loading up a bit. Florida gets Pavel Turnka, which he actually played there, so that's neat. Curtis Brown going to Florida as well from the Edmonton Oilers. So not a ton of trades so far this offseason. In terms of signings, anything interesting to note? Dwayne Rolson to Philadelphia, okay. Anything else interesting other than that? Eric Cole to Calgary, okay. Matt Cook is on his way to Edmonton, so he did leave Boston, so Tugi's going to be happy about that. What else we got here? Ruslan Fedotenko to Atlanta. Trying to see if there's any crazy things. So far, it's a bunch of random names. Some of you guys probably know some of these dudes, some of you probably don't. Wade Belak, our former player, I forgot that we let him go. He signs with the Philadelphia Flyers. That's like the perfect place for a face puncher. So good luck to Wade Belak in Philadelphia. Maybe he can win a Stanley Cup there before he decides to call it quits. Aaron Ward went back to Detroit, which is where he started his career, so that's kind of neat. Well, actually, he started his career technically in the Winnipeg organization / Arizona organization, but then he was dealt, I believe, before he played a single game, which is kind of neat. School of Dallas, which he actually played in, so that's kind of neat. Anything else? Ethan Moore to Buffalo. Michael Renberg signs in Toronto. That's actually where he was playing around this point, so that's pretty neat if he wasn't there already. I believe he wasn't there already. I believe he started the series in Philadelphia too, so that's kind of cool. What else we got here? Oleg Kavasha went to the Islanders, which is where he actually played, so that's pretty damn sick. Yuri Fisher as well to the Islanders. Okay, Igor Kravchuk. Andreas Johansson, our former guy, signs in Montreal. Valchevik is still kicking around. He signs in Detroit, which I believe he was born in Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, so that might be a hometown signing for him. Pascal Dupuis to Florida. Donald Odette going to Montreal. That's where he played right around this point, or a little bit earlier, I should say, like in 02. Henrik Tallinder to Carolina on a 4-year deal. Damn. Barnaby to St. Louis. Hedekin to Boston. Borny to Dallas. Luos Barteshko, our former player, we dealt him away. He ends up signing in Colorado. All right. Roman Lyashenko to Detroit. What kind of sucks is now, by this point in time in real life, he would have already been passed on. So rest in peace, Roman Lyashenko, if you guys never heard of him. Jamie Storr signs with Dallas. I was looking into Jamie Storr a bit, but I didn't end up signing him as our backup. Martin Havlat signs in Carolina. Martin St. Louis went back to the Florida Panthers, where he was already in the series at one point. So that will be interesting, because Florida's been a really good team in terms of winning Stanley Cups and stuff in the series. So maybe he's going to get a chance at a Stanley Cup. So hopefully he gets one there just for Satoru Otaku's sake, because obviously when he was with the Islanders, he wasn't that good. Or he didn't get that much ice time. Kevin Weeks got a 7-year deal from the Montreal Canadiens. So Montreal banking on Kevin Weeks, and this is kind of weird. Obviously, by now standard, in real life, they would have drafted Carey Price, but Carey Price ain't in this. Thomas Vokoun, our former goalie, signs with the Colorado Avalanche. So that's interesting. Mike Ribeiro going back to Montreal on a 1-year deal again. Kyle McLaren signing in Buffalo on a 5-year deal. Oof. Eric Dezay to the Rangers. Henrik Zetterberg gets a 5-year deal out of arbitration, I guess. There's our signings. Yeah, not really any huge names signing places, it feels like. Ryan Miller getting a 2-year deal out of arbitration. Ryan Malone to Buffalo. Buffalo adding a lot of weird players, apparently. Spot check to Dallas, and that's pretty much it. All right. Well, let's begin the sim up to next season. I don't know if we're going to simulate halfway through the season in this episode or not, because like I said, I would kind of like to get the season done in 3 chunks. I said that in the last episode. However, I might want to make these episodes not too long, so that way my voice isn't completely dead, because I do still got to record 2 more videos after this, technically. So let's get to editing our lines for the 05-06 season. So Hartnell, Spezza, Marita looks good. Actually, let's make sure we have our right guys in the NHL that we want first and foremost. So goalies, Sedin and Graham. That looks good. Dan Ellis technically could be a backup, but we're not going to use him as one right now. Rob Blake dropped down to an 84, so he might drop off a cliff this season, but that's okay. Shea Weber's pretty much close to ready. Same with Jacques, Seabrook, and Suter. They're all depth defensemen. But obviously we'll keep them in the AHL for their growth. Antoine Jacques is AHL eligible, so the AHL just got literally 4 defenders added to it. And we also have Giordano, who's a 74. So, do we have a depth defenseman already? Yes, we do. Okay, so we don't need any more defenders in the NHL, so this is going to be the AHL defensive core. Likely the scratch is going to be Andrew Hutchinson. Yeah, that's going to likely be the case. All right. In terms of forwards, we got Sullivan, Van Allen, and Svatos. Winnick ain't ready yet. Left wing wise, we have a bit of a log jam on left side, but it's okay. Mullen is close, but he's not ready yet. So we are good on the left side of things. And down the middle, Joe Pavelski needs to come up for sure. So call up not Jumbo Joe, Lil Joe, or whatever his nickname was. So we got 4 centers. Moana might be playing right wing. Yeah, Kopeski's probably going to be the 4th line center. So we got 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wait. Yeah, we have 14 forwards, I think, right? Yeah, we're already at the max amount of players. So we should be able to adjust our lines the way we want them now. So we want Spezza, Hartnell, Marita. I think that's good. Nagy, Legwan, Sullivan. Van Allen, Arneson is kind of high in the lineup. I don't want Arneson in over Joe Pavelski. Nat Domicelli's not a center either. I want Kopeski being that 4th line center. Axelson could go up here. Domicelli might actually play in the 4th line role. Or do I want to play Pandolfo? Maybe I'll play Pandolfo because he's more defensively minded. But Domicelli could come in the right spots. Yeah, that looks good. Obviously, Orpik needs to be in instead of Mike Motto, though. Corzini got put on the top pairing by default. That's interesting. I prefer him to be on the 2nd unit, I think, for now. Ooh, Orpik and Corzini works. That's nice. I like that. Andy Dunmore can play on the top 6, so that is good on defense. Yeah, we're good, pretty much good, I think. Let's make sure Corzini's on a power play unit, though. I am going to take Sully off the top power play, I think. Actually, I did really like Sully's play, actually. I'm going to take Nagy off the top power play unit and give this instead to Corzini, because I want Corzini to play with all the big boys. Yes, Corzini is the best. He's Corzini, you know, like we were saying before. And we'll keep Rob Blake on the point in this one. We are going to take, obviously, Jay Pandolfo and PJ Axelson off this power play unit, because that is something you don't really do, is put those 2-way forwards on there. So we will put Sullivan and Van Allen if Van Allen's not already. Yeah. Perfect. Just had to make sure at least the power play looked good. Yeah, that looks nice. I like it. I like it. Andy Delmore will not be getting power play time unless I take Trevor Daly off, which I'm not going to yet. But eventually, if Trevor Daley's not doing anything on the power play, maybe I will adjust that. Penalty kill, Pavelski, Pandelfo, Marita, Van Allen, Axelson, Legwand. I do kind of want Pavelski on the power. He is on the PK. Okay, that should be fine. And yeah, Corzini's on the PK as well. So I think that's good. So I think this is what our team is going to look like for 05-06, which actually looks pretty good. So there is a realistic chance we could make it back to the playoffs. Obviously, the defense is still a little bit weak, but it's not too bad. And then AHL, do we have anybody scratch? It shouldn't be. Robinson's okay. Alakis probably should be still in the lineup. And Hutchinson doesn't matter at this stage. Alakis is a left winger? Yeah. So I want Nicholas higher in the lineup. Moen is a bottom 6 guy, but he's the youngest out of a couple of these guys. Ramsey Abid's the guy that needs to be scratched here. So I'll take Ramsey Abid out of the lineup. And get maybe Alakis a little higher in the lineup as well. Who would I rather in a higher lineup, Scott or Moen? Probably Moen. And then Artmeyer's a low elite, so he should be probably pretty high in the lineup. Walker Lacoste is a second line center. Looks nice. Okay, I like it. And then defensively, this is insane. This defensive core looks so nice. Suter, Weber, Giordano, Seabrook, Schubert, and Jacques. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm very excited to see what those guys do once they get to the NHL and all that. The future is very bright on defense, I could tell you that much. Like, this team is going to look really good. Like, our defense in the NHL might not look that good, but when you see the hopefuls in the AHL, it looks pretty good. So I think that's pretty good. So I think we're ready to start simulating some of 2005-06. Like I said, we'll probably simulate a little chunk of the season. Not too much. Like, I think I might simulate literally like 20-something games. And then next episode, we could simulate more all the way up to the deadline. And then the episode afterwards, I could simulate the deadline and afterwards, maybe? I don't know. Because that way I get the regular season done in the 3 episodes. And then when we come back, if we are a playoff team, you guys could start commenting your thoughts on stuff and all that. You could always comment your thoughts regardless. But if you want to actually engage with me when I'm back from BC and in the playoffs and stuff like that, that might be a way of doing it. Just breaking the season into 3 chunks instead. I don't mind that idea. We'll see. We'll see how long this episode is by the time I get like 20-something games in. Might be okay. Let's see what we do in terms of the preseason. We got 3 games. And we are going to probably win them all, right? Yeah, we win them all 3-0 in the preseason. Love to see it. Leading away, Steven Marita. I think this is going to be a big year for Marita. And speaking of Marita, he needs his contract extension already. Because he's a pending RFA. So what do you want, Marita? Well, I'm glad that there's no salary cap because I could just give you what you want, but I am going to still do the 85% trick because obviously I'm a cheap guy and I'm just going to do that. I'm not like Lou Lamoriello and I'm just giving people exactly what they want, you know. $11.9 million. Okay. That sounds nice to me. 11.9 for Marita for 8 years. That would be a good deal, especially if he starts hitting 50-plus goals a season. So Marita is potentially locked up if he wants to accept that extension. Might be a future captain of this team, you never know. How did Corzini do in the preseason? That's one thing I want to actually find out. Because I think he's going to have a good rookie season. He was great in the AHL last year, so hoping for a big year from him. Had no points in the preseason, but was +4, which is nice. Will be interesting to see how he develops in this NHL season. Because, yeah, last year, like I said, he was fantastic in the AHL. Not the best +-, but great points. And in the playoffs, he was almost point per game, too. So I think he could definitely bring some offense that our team is lacking from the back end a little bit. Obviously, Shea Weber and stuff like that could do that as well down the road. But anyways, let's sim to the first game of the new season. We're playing the Pittsburgh Penguins to start off the 2005-06 season, which is interesting. Obviously, this is the season that the Carolina Hurricanes won the Cup. And, okay, Marita is on board. So the Karate Kid has been locked up for 8 years. Hopefully he could go wax on, wax off, and become a friggin' karate master. Oh, boy. All right. So, yeah, this is the year that the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup over Edmonton. I don't know if Carolina is actually good at this point. I should actually take a look at the roster for fun. I don't normally take a look at teams' rosters at this stage. We'd already did like a couple seasons ago, or last season, I think it was. But I do want to take a look at what Carolina and Edmonton are looking like, just in case they might end up having a chance at a cup this year or not. So Carolina, are they looking like a cup contender? have a pretty good forward group, especially on that right-hand side. Defensively, they look pretty strong. They can definitely make it to the playoffs. And Rick DiPietro is their starter, though. It's kind of funny that we dealt him there. He was not good last year as a backup for them, but he is going to be their starting goalie this season. So shout out to Rick DiPietro. See if he ends up winning the Stanley Cup this year. In Edmonton, running Ryan Miller. It's kind of crazy. And in their forward group is definitely not as strong, but they do have some good players on it. They did trade away Doug Weight in the offseason to Boston, so kind of makes sense. All right. Just was curious if we were going to get a realistic cup result or not. All right. Well, let's sim like 20-something games, I think, in this episode. Next episode, then we could simulate to the day before the deadline. And then afterwards, the episode after that, the last pre-recorded episode, I could simulate the rest of the regular season. I think that's how it's going to work. So we have how many games this month? 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14 games. So we only have like another... I'll do another 7 games after this. And Shea Weber's already been injured in the AHL. God damn, that's not great. Well, at least it's not too long term. But that's not the way the AHL team definitely wants to start off the season. One of the best prospects in the NHL right now, getting injured in his first AHL game. At least Andrew Hutchinson's a solid replacement, but damn. Yeah, I'm expecting the AHL team to have a really good year. If they do not have a good year, I will be kind of surprised. Alright, so we lost the first 2 games of the season, but afterwards we went on a nice little winning streak. Still a little bit inconsistent, but obviously it's a young team. We don't know what to expect playoffs or not with this roster. Axelson at 6 for 2 force, not bad. We have options to trade away too if we aren't that good, like Rob Blake, like I said, which is kind of nice. Looks like we're starting to heat up here as of late. Yep, we definitely are heating up. 7-3, 2-2 in our first, 14 games? Yeah, 14 games of the season. So that's pretty damn solid. As a second place currently in the Central Division. We have played, though, 3 more games than the Red Wings and the Blues at this point. So 14 games in, let's go to it. I'm trying to think of what the halfway point is, or third quarter of the way through the season would be, or third of the way through the season would be. I gotta open my calculator up. 82 divided by 3, like 27 games. Okay, let's do 27 games. So we've already done 14, so let's do another 13. So 2, 5, 8, 11, 12, 13. Alright, yeah, so it should be right at the end of this month, and then we'll be technically around to a quarter of the way done the season, or a third of the way done the season, I should say. Hayden Van Allen's been injured. That's not ideal, considering he's one of our top forward prospects that's playing in his second NHL season. Another guy that's probably going to get an 8-year deal at some point. Christoph Artmeyer, another good prospect, and that's in the AHL, has sprained his ankle. That's one of those low leads. Yikes. I don't like when our top prospects and top young guys get injured. It's not ideal. So we'll take Domicelli out of the lineup, and Van Allen will come right back in. That's good. We'll get Artmeyer in when he's back. And I need to go down this month here. Kind of struggling, it looks like, to start this month, which is not great. But we are still inconsistent, kind of, as a young team, which makes sense. It's going to happen. Embiid will come out. Actually, who is it that was in? Artmeyer was the second line guy, so Embiid definitely comes out. And then it's not Kostitsyn, it's Nathan Robinson that comes out for Embiid, so, or whatever the heck the other guy's name is. I don't remember who else got injured. Okay, final 5 games of this. Oh my goodness. That might be the most devastating injury, because Sedin was so good last year. He's injured with a herniated disc, so he's out till January the 13th, so we lose our best goalie till January, so that actually might impact our season quite a bit. We're relying on John Graham and Dan Ellis. Yikes. I was not expecting to have an injury to Sedin this year. That might be one of the worst injuries I've seen for a goalie. That's quite long term. We're literally without him for a couple months, I guess? Yeah, damn. So Dan Ellis and John Graham, which means it's going to be Jimmy Howard being the starter in the AHL, and just... Wait, did they sign me Tobias Stefan? They did. I made him in this franchise mode, and I guess he went undrafted, and they literally assigned me one of the guys I actually made in this game. So that's actually kind of cool, because sometimes they just sign you a random generated dude, but they signed me Tobias Stefan So the Dallas Stars legend, Tobias Stephon. That's actually kind of hilarious. I like that. Even though he's not that good, but still, that's hilarious. Stenson's been injured in the AHL now. Damn. Yeah, the AHL's getting slapped with injuries too. Smithson's been injured. I feel like the entire AHL squad's gone down with an injury. Oh my god, that's 3 injuries in a row. What the hell is happening in Milwaukee? God damn, guys. I don't even know who's going to be in which spot in the lineup now. So we got to take a beat out of here. Was it Kostitsyn that was back? No, Kostitsyn's already in because of all these injuries, isn't he? Yeah, he's already at center. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to leave it like that. I honestly don't even know what's happening in the AHL right now with those injuries, but damn. Alright. We have one more game left of simulation, and it's going to be an overtime win. So 13-8, 3-3, 27 games into the year. Jared Smithson is back. He was the guy that was probably playing center where Kostitsyn was. And then we can move Kostitsyn back over to the other side. So there that. We'll do this. Take a beat out. Get Kostitsyn in that spot. And then a beat could go into the 4th line instead of Robinson. God damn, the AHL is just crazy right now. There we go. We should be good. Should be good. So we are probably still in the playoff spot likely, but not too sure on points percentage. So let's take a look at that. We'll take a look at our player stats, and then that'll probably be it for this episode. And then, like I said, next episode we'll simulate to a day before the deadline, and I'll look at the options that we might be trading for. The next episode afterwards will be simulating the rest of the season, or regular season at least. Depends if I guess we make the playoffs or not. But at the moment, we are currently in a playoff spot at 7th place in the Western Conference. That's not really a good spot to be in. We have played not the most amount of games in the division, or the conference, I should say, but still. The Edmonton Oilers are close to us, and they've played one more game. The St. Louis Blues have us definitely on points percentage. They have played 4 less games and only have 7 less points. But they're also really close to the Chicago Blackhawks. So St. Louis, who won the Cup last year, could end up knocking one of us back out. Vancouver's also kind of close, but they've played 28 games, so that doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I think the real big threat is the St. Louis Blues at the moment. But if we go off points percentage, we're still in 7th, it looks like, and St. Louis is below 50% right now. So St. Louis needs to win a lot of games if they want to knock us or Chicago out, it seems like. At the moment, how good are we offensively? We're one of the better offensive teams in the West. Goals against, though. Yeah, this is where we're struggling, probably because of Sedin's injury, too. So we're allowing a lot of goals. Power play hasn't been good, despite our offense being good. And our penalty kill has not been good either. So special teams are not too good at the moment. Alright. Let's take a look at our player stats so far. Oh yeah, looks like we're getting good depth scoring, which is nice to see at least. So Spezza's over point per game. He's been really good, plus 14 as well for Jason Spezza, who's in the first year of his 8-year ELC, or not ELC, his 8-year extension. David Legwand on 22 points. He's actually been really good too. He's put up a lot of points. He's a plus 13. Pretty good year for David Legwand so far. Pavelski's also been solid too. 10 points in 27 games. Last year, he only had 26 points all year round. However, his plus-minus is still a little bit of an issue. But he is a PK guy for us. Good face-off stats as well. Good takeaway numbers. Yeah, solid stats from Pavelski despite the plus-minus. Marita's been good, 26 points. Hartnell's been good. Nagy's been good. So we're pretty top 6 heavy, it feels like. Because Pandolfo hasn't done much. PJ Axelson has been terrible. Maybe we trade away PJ Axelson. Jesus. I know we brought him in just last year, but minus 12 through 27 games. And only 1 goal to show for it. Yikes. I know he's only making $1.6 million, but that's very bad. Kopetsky's been better in terms of defense than him, too. Domicelli's been terrible defensively, minus 4 through 2 games. He was exactly where Axelson was, so I think that third line might have some issues. Sullivan, 22 points is good. Van Allen, 14 points, but minus 7. Svatos has 10 points in 27 games. He's been good. And then defensively, Blake's got the 20 points. Corazini's already got 16 points. Wow. For a two-way defenseman, that's relatively impressive. Because usually it's OFDs that do that well. But he's been good so far to start his career. Shooting 13%. Only 3 of his points have been on the power play, too. +8. Yeah, Corzini's been good. How about his shot blocking and all that stuff? Alright, yeah, he's looking good. He does turn over the puck quite a bit, just like Rob Blake, though. Huh, okay. But I do like Corzini's play so far. Trevor Daley's been solid. Brooks Orpik has been good defensively. Andy Delmore's struggling. He brought a lot more offense than last year. It's probably because he's not getting power play time, which I think that was the case with Andy Delmore in real life, is when he was on the power play, he was good offensively, but when he was just playing like top 6 minutes, he was not that same type of defender. We could put him in over Trevor Daley, but I don't really know. And Sushi's been good defensively. Goalies, Sedin had a 900 save percentage, so a little bit of a sophomore slump before his injury. John Graham has been pretty bad, and Dan Ellis came in and played really good in his one game so far, so the goaltending has been relatively a little bit inconsistent. But there is that. Let's take a look at our lineup here, because I'm pretty sure that third line has been the issue in terms of plus minus. So maybe we want to rework our lineup to start next episode. Trying to think of what we want to do, because Axelson's definitely been bad. Yeah, it's probably been that third line mostly, but there's not anybody I would move out of this line. Like, it would probably just move out Axelson and then put in somebody else there instead. Yeah, I might honestly have to trade away PJ Axelson in the next episode. Domicelli was pretty bad defensively too, but let's scratch Axelson. I could throw Tyler Arneson in the lineup hypothetically too, but he's not great defensively either. I'm trying to think of what we could do here. Kopecky there. Domicelli, I'm not going to actually put you in the lineup. Let's go with Tyler Arneson as a fourth line guy. Actually, Pavelski's been good and he's much better defensively, but do I want to put him on the fourth line? Probably not. Let's just get Arneson in and see if that helps us out for next episode. And then do we trade away PJ Axelson? Maybe. How's the AHL team looking right now? A lot of good growth looks like. Still pretty much same on offense. Defense still looks filthy. Yeah, the defense is awesome. I'm excited to see what these guys do at the NHL level. Ryan Suter's got 21 points in his first 29 AHL games. Shea Weber, not too much offense, surprisingly. He's got 13 points so far. Giordano's on 12 points this season. Seabrook's on 21. He's been good. Schubert's got 7, and Antoine Jacques has 9. Alright. Jimmy Howard's rocking an 877. Yikes. The HL team might not actually be even in the playoffs right now. I gotta take a look at that. The HL team should be doing a lot better than they are right now. They are in a playoff spot, I think, potentially, but they haven't been setting the... Actually, they're 16-8-4, so there has been some really weird things, though, with the team, it looks like, but I'm not too sure what's the problem. Yeah, it looks like there may be some issues on this team, but not too much. Like, Jay McClement has been kind of bad defensively. It's not too bad. I just don't understand the goaltending stats. Like, how good was Dan Ellis doing down there before he got called up? A 909. Okay, so that's a bit more respectable. So Dan Ellis was helping them out a lot. So it would be nice to get him back down there, but of course, Sedin won't be back still for a bit. Well, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Nashville Predators Throwback 2000 franchise mode. So in next episode, I'll simulate to probably a day before the deadline. We'll see what this team's looking like at that stage, and then we'll kind of address if I need to make any changes or not going forward for the rest of the season, depending if we're trying to fight to get into the playoffs, if we're actually not going to make the playoffs. But obviously, next 2 episodes are still pre-recorded. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.